The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, conversing with him. Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud cast a shadow over them. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell prostrate and were very much afraid. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise, and do not be afraid. And when the disciples raised their eyes, they saw no one else but Jesus alone. As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, Do not tell the vision to anyone until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. So as parents, there used to be a plethora of tools that you could use to discipline a child, right? You could either use a leather strap, stick, or as we fondly called it back home, a switch. The worst thing you would have to do was when Dad would send you to go cut your own switch, and if it wasn't big enough, he'd send you back down there again. He's like, don't make me have to come down there and cut it. Or Mom's favorite, well, not her favorite, I'll tell you about what her favorite was. Spatula, good old wooden spatula, get the job done. Mom had a handful of rings. She was like a biker, right? She'd chase me around, or else she could whack me in the back of the car, and, there'd be blood everywhere. Do that, my mom and dad would have been arrested about 14, 15 times by then. I'd be in DCS, living out of an orphanage. Who knows if my parents were alive today. But they had one, and you guys still got it today too, and you use it. And you little ones, if you haven't heard it, you will. You might already had. You look like trouble. You probably already heard it. Yeah. So it's when your parents say to you, my little child, daughter, son, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed. Oh my God! There's the guilt. There's the guilt. And that works, right? It works. I mean, for somebody as a priest and somebody who is a sales guy, a marketing guy, I worked in the hospitality industry, I've always been about trying to make people happy, right? Trying to make people happy. And it doesn't work in this environment, especially. It's not just you guys, it's not just church, it's the public. Best thing about working with the public is the public. The worst thing about working with the public is the public. But when we try to make everybody happy, and it's just impossible. So I had to come with grips with this at some point in my priesthood, and it didn't take too long to figure out, man, if you're going to have a hard time with this. And I was talking to my spiritual director, and he's like, you can't make everybody happy, but don't think about it like this. Don't think about it like that. Think about it like this. Every morning, wake up knowing and prepared that you are going to disappoint somebody today. Wow. Interesting way of looking at it. So I just kind of picture myself with my Franklin planner, Stephen Covey, Dr. Covey, and my Franklin planner, A1, disappoint somebody today. So you don't want to be the first person that I see, because I'm probably just going to try and get it out of the way. But you can't do it. You just can't do it, right? You're always going to disappoint somebody. And I think a lot of times, disappointing people, it's not just because I do something wrong or you do something wrong, Sometimes it's about what type of expectations we have, or else it's how big the entity is, right? Think about how, the big C church, the big Catholic Church. We've all been disappointed at some point, right? When Pope Benedict, when Pope Francis, when Pope John Paul was doing stuff, he was disappointing people. Then it was Pope Benedict, he was disappointing people, but everybody else was tickled to death. And now we got Pope Francis, he's disappointing other people, but other people are tickled to death. You're right? It's just because what you like can kind of tend to disappoint, to make you open to more disappointment. That's why I like to set expectations really low for most people. That way I won't be disappointed. And think about our local church, right? Man, we've spent a lot of time in the news lately. A lot of people have been disappointed about what they've read about the diocese and the church. A lot of people are disappointed with stuff that I've done. A lot of people are disappointed, not as many, with stuff that Deacon David's done. It just can't help it, right? You just can't help it. But the one person that does not disappoint is God. The one person that will not disappoint us, if we have the right expectations, is God. If we are stuck, no offense to the fifth graders, if we are stuck at a fifth grade theological level and understanding of what God is, you're going to be getting disappointed all the time. I say my prayers, I put in my sacramental nickels and dimes, and nothing should go wrong, right? Our teachers are God bless the nuns and God bless everybody who tells people that as long as you do what you're supposed to do, nothing bad will ever happen to you. It's a flat out lie. Good things happen to bad people, bad things happen to good people, and vegetarians get run over by meat trucks. I know, it's hilarious. Thank you. But it's true. Let's just look at this scenario today. Right. First of all, God says, He tells Moses, He tells Abraham, He's like, I will make you as many as there are stars in the sky. I will give you this land that you have not earned, that you have not worked for, and I will give it to you. And there will be a Messiah that will come for you, that will come one day. So they're banking on that, right? They do. They make them big. They give them a land. They go to Canaan, and so this is now their land. And then things start to happen. Well, they get in trouble. They start pulling away from God because their expectation of what God was not what they wanted. They wanted a God that could be a golden calf that they could worship. That's not the way that God works. That's not what God is. So their expectations of God became skewed. So what do? Well, they start wandering around and looking for other stuff. It's got to be better over here. It's got to be better over here because this isn't what I expect. So I'll just go try this one. Right? And then, as the years pass and years pass and years pass, then they begin looking for the Messiah. And there's two different Messiahs that different people are looking for, right? Expectation. Expectation one was a Messiah that was going to be a military Messiah, was going to fight and get them out of oppression by the Romans and going to make them the chosen people just like God promised. And then there was the other one. There was the Messiah like the Messiah Jesus was. A spiritual Messiah, one who was going to lead them into a different promised land, but the promised land of a new covenant. And this made people mad, right? The ones who were living there then and now, they wanted that military Messiah because they're sick and tired of being occupied by the Romans. They want, what do you mean if a Roman soldier smacks me in the face, I got to turn the other cheek and let him go at me again? That's disappointing. It's not the Messiah I want. What do you mean if they make me carry his pack for a mile? You want me to carry it another mile? Well, this is ridiculous. This is not what I was expecting. Now, let's go over to the New Testament. Look at what happened today up on the mountain. These three knuckleheads, man, they have been around. They've seen Jesus. Peter, James, and John were always around. They were the cool guys. They were the cool guys of the apostles because they were the ones that always got to see the good stuff. They got to see people being raised from the dead. They get to see people getting cured. And then they go up on the mountain and then they see two guys come out of nowhere and just pop up there. And then when they say the law and prophets means equals Old Testament. So Elijah and Moses, pretty much, they're the rock stars of the Old Testament. All of a sudden, there they are. And then Jesus, he lights up like a flippin' light bulb. And then on top of all that, you got a voice coming from the clouds that says, "This is my son with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." Well, what does he do? Well, he tells them, keep your mouth shut. There's a time for you to share this, but it's not now. Disappointment number one. What do? They start talking about it before they even make it down the hill. They start talking about it. Now, let's think about big disappointments. These were the three guys that were hanging out with Jesus almost all the time. So what happens on the night of the Passion? Jesus says, "Hey, fellas, why don't you come over here and stay awake for a little bit while I go pray?" What do? Go to sleep. Disappointment. Disappointed Jesus? That's a problem. It would be if Jesus was human. It would be a problem if Jesus was like us. And not just once, but a couple of times. Well, then look at Peter. Peter, you'll betray me 3 times before the cock crows. No, I won't. No, I won't. No, I won't. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Huge disappointment. But what happens then? Was Jesus disappointed with them? Did he punish them because things didn't go his way? No. The church was founded by Peter. He was the first pope. He was the one that started the apostolic succession. James went on to be one of the most recognized apostles who set up many churches all over the Middle East, the Holy Land, and whatever. And then, what about John? He wrote one of the most beautiful gospels that we have. But they were disappointments. They did things that disappointed people. What do we expect from each other? We expect them to be perfect. We expect them to function at the highest possible level at all times, never, ever making a mistake. But surely nobody would think that about us. Oh man, give me a break. I'm just human. My friends, we got to be careful with the way we dispense mercy or do not dispense mercy. We may get disappointed. We may be let down. But I guarantee you, when the tables are turned and the chips are down, and you do something stupid, or I do something stupid, I'm looking for a soft place to land. And that soft place to land should be here. A soft place to land should be there. I came for mercy, not for sacrifice. So when we are tempted to say, I'm going to take my ball and go home because I have been disappointed, wake up, people. This is an earth full of, as my dog says, humans. And humans make mistakes. Sometimes they do them on purpose. Sometimes it's because they're just humans. Sometimes it's the enemy. But we have to be prepared to forgive. I came for mercy, not for sacrifice. We will have plenty of opportunities, probably before you even get out of the parking lot today, to show some mercy. So dispense the mercy in the same amount in which you wish to receive it.